that video is the very first thing is you need a 1 hour breaking down, right? Let me put the 90 line. There's the 90 line right there. Okay, so here's your 1 hour breaking down, right? Now, your volume is not positive, right? That's a good sign. Rotate. The next thing I need is a 30-minute breaking down. And right there, my 30-minute is breaking down. It needs to be below the 90. It already is. Okay? Now, that for me would be an entry point there for me to look for an entry. I would move to the 15. As long as the 15 is in my favor, then I'm looking for an entry. Unfortunately, at this moment here, the 15 was moving up, but then it starts to break back down right here, right? So now I know this isn't going to be the biggest pullback that I want, and that's because the 15 only has so much room to run here, right? That's where this trade right here gets a little shaky, because it's like I'm already knowing that if I take this pullback, I need to be aware that it's going to be very short. This is where the volume comes into play, right? Because now what I'm looking for is the volume below the 4 line on the 30, right? So when I slide back in there, I can see I already have that. So that just lets me know that this trade is a go. So now all I need is a 15 to go in my direction, which it does. At that point, I slide to my 3-minute entry. And all I need for that to happen at that moment is basically it to come out of this green trend right here. Right? It has a green moon, right? That's that push. Then the trend goes red, red moon, there's my entry, right? So this is where I would be entering right in this little zone here. Now, I already know at this point that this pullback isn't going to be that long of a pullback, so this is where you can look for targets, right? So now, my target is the 5-minute 200 moving average, right? That's my first target. I look at that, that's a 0.5%, I can get 50%. I rotate to my 15-minute, right? I'm below my 15-minute. So anytime you're below your 15-minute, that's normally a bearish signal right there. The problem with that is now I don't have a real big target here, right? So now I have to rely on that 5-minute as being the next support line that I can actually really count on. So the ideal is when I look at this trade here, I see that I can get that 5-minute pullback in there and get my 50%. Not a bad trade. Now what makes me move into this trade, right, is as I look across here, I'm notice on all my RSIs, or on my 200s here, but look at my Fibonacci's, right? The 5-minute says that this wants to bounce in here, and it probably just rotated. And the 30-minute here says that it wants to go, 15-minute says it wants to go down. 30-minute says that it wants to go down. So I got a lot of selling pressure here, right? But the reason why I would take that short on there is because the 5-minute is giving me that move. But the most important thing to me is when I look at the 30-minute and the 15-minute volume, is that it's disappearing, right? So let's say if I held off there and I said, okay, this is a shaky move here. And I say to myself, what we said the other day, like wait for the 15-minute red trend, right? So let's say I put that in and say, all right, I'm going to wait for the 15-minute red trend because all the volume's already in my favor. I just want more confirmation. So I wait. I get a 15-minute red moon, which is great. I get my red trend, and now we got an entry at this point up here, right? Now this is where we kind of get into the point where Young got beat up. This is what I was going to say earlier to you guys, like, next time you guys see these things happening, like on here, you see how that 15 minutes is at the bottom there? Now you guys right here, it's starting to move down. So that would take that short here, especially if I'm getting these 5-minute entry points, right? And especially here, I'm getting my 15-minute trends in here, right? Is look at the volume next time that you guys see those trades are happening. This is where you got to be a little more aware of the volume that's coming in. So right here, we get our 15-minute red trend. That's a short position, so we take that there. And so far, this is going to pay out for us. So here's our trend right here. It hits. Now we got a red moon. In the 15-minute, it's still slightly coming down. All right, you see right there? Still right here, if I wait to my trend, it's coming down to the bottom. So I'm not concerned about this running across the bottom right now because it's the very beginning of it hitting, because I have the momentum of a red trend and a red moon, and I'm seeing that the volume is coming down. And as I'm watching the volume, that's why I would enter the trade, is because we're getting low volume. Now the exit of this trade, right, is going to be the 3 minute. So when I wrote back to the 3 minute, right, this is where I'm entering, right? I'm entering in this zone here. Even if I waited for that 15 minute to confirm, which happened way over here, I would have cost myself some valuable points there. But let's say I wanted to be overcautious and I still wait for that move, right, which happens way over here. Let me mark that real quick. And I wait for that move to happen. Now I'm in this trade until, right, so here's my 3 minute RSI. See, it's already at the bottom. So that has to run its course, right? Now what I want to do here is, normally I would only enter half my bag here because the RSI is on its way up. I would eventually let it finish its run to the top like it does here, and then I'd put the rest of my bag on this RSI and this pump here. So when this little candle pumped, I'd put the other half of my bag in there. And I'm in this trade until I get a 3 minute green moon, green trend. Notice that I don't have that yet. So this trade is still active. I don't get out until there's a 3 minute moon and 3 minute green trend. So this is all still going in our direction here, right? And that's because of the volume. That's why you have to check that 30 minute volume to make sure it's below. That's the difference. All the other stuff that we are implementing so far, right, which would be trade with the 1 hour trend, right? So now let's say that we have that in our bag. Right now you wouldn't even take this trade because you don't have a 1 hour trend yet. You see what I'm saying? So let's sit back. This was a winning would have won off this already. But that's where being very precise, right? Knowing that that volume is broke below the 30, right? That's the move, right? Remember, the trades are designed to get 1% moves already. So worst case scenario, they move a 0.5%. So they're designed to win 50% profits every time. The continuation is where you guys are getting stuck because you're looking for that 100% or you're looking for it to keep going, and the 15 minutes at the bottom are getting close to it, but you're not realizing the volume is already accounted for that RSI. Volumes override the RSIs. So once that volume started to go down, I'm going to take advantage of that next candle that's going to make that move, take my profits, and at this point, I would have took profits on there and been in that trade. And even if I waited for the 15-minute RSI to hit like it did, the next thing that I would do, now that I committed to that trade, is I'm in that trade until there's a 3 minute green moon and 3 minute RSI. Or a 3 minute green moon, 3 minute green trend. So now I'm just committed to this trade. Do you see how that works? That's what I was going to say. When you guys see that 15 minute at the bottom, start looking at the volume. If it's below the 30 minute 4, 2, or going negative, right, then you can take that trade because the volume is disappearing. All right, so here, look at the 30. And you can see here when I took that trade, see how the 30 minute, you see that volume? Failed to break above the 4 and started to head down. You see that? So you can wait on that 15-minute. I think the only thing that I would say on this would be when the 15-minute trend is at the bottom, you have to go with the trend. The RSI is just the amount of people doing something. The trend is the amount of what they're doing, and the volume is basically a earlier indicator of how much they're doing, right? So there, when the trend goes red, that means that the volume is going to go with it, right? Because the trend and the volume are the same thing, except volume reacts quicker than the trend. So right now we'd be in this trade, and even though everything is bottomed out here, we would still be in this because we entered where we were supposed to, but we can't get out of this trade until 3 minute red moon, 3 minute red trend. Now, because of this trade being so like accurate, where you have to kind of like 30-minute volume below, heading down, boom, I'm entering on that 3 minute green, red moon, red trend, or you wait for consolidation, you can wait until the 15-minute red trend. So you use the 15-minute red trend. The RSIs are just to show you, lead you into trades. Like, so first thing is the candles, right? The volumes. So when volumes are going certain ways, you look at, so for me, it's kind of easy because I'm always looking for shorts, right? So I'm looking for pumps, I'm looking for that to happen. Then I'm looking for the downside of that, part of that trade, right? That's kind of where we start looking, right? So always looking for the pullbacks. So for me, that's where the trade kind of like comes together. So once I find that position, then I start looking for what's going to happen, right? That's where I use the 1 hour because I want the 1 hour to be in my favor. The 1 hour is way in my favor. The 2 hour is starting to become in my favor, right? Which means this is going to be even stronger of a pullback. The 30-minute can be bottomed, it can stay there, but it has a red moon now. So this is all coming into my favor. It's just the volume. I think when you guys are getting in, by waiting for that 15 minute to bounce right there, which it's gonna bounce, have a little bit pullback. It's not gonna be that effective because you see the volume right there. That's really what determines how much this line, how much the RSI means, and it really doesn't mean much here because that volume is disappearing.
So, could you go back to when that pump happened, like that last big pump? Because that started like last, or it would have been around last night, like at the
Oh, down here.
yeah. So, but I feel like I guess it's just when I start to like try and because I take profits and then I re-enter and then like once the volume starts to pick up, like you just get wicked out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it just seemed like it happened so fast. And I
Yeah.
guess I like missed out checking on
Yeah, you got to keep like once
something.
you start doing your trades, you got to go back in and start like
Yeah.
monitoring that other shit because you already made the trade,
Yeah.
it already made money. Now you got
But
to go
yeah,
back
you're
and make
just
sure.
being more
Yeah, you just go through
less
the trade
greedy
again.
once you already make the money instead of more greedy. That's the hard part.
Yeah, and I mean,
For me.
so far, I mean, like we're in our normal entry point here, right? Which is okay. So I'm trying to figure out, like, when I'm looking at this, like, what would be, to me, it would be the 15-minute red trend. That would be the next thing to say. Don't trade against the 15-minute trend, and that's what I was talking about a couple days ago already, anyways. But reiterating that, like, 15-minute red trend, then you can short. Remember, I was talking about look for the 15 red moon. I mean, honestly, the 15 red moon is kind of like where you could look for the short. See, it's right there. That's what I was saying. If you go back in the VIP chat, I was typing in, don't short unless there's a 15-minute red moon. This trend just happened to hit at the same time. Normally, the moon comes first, the trend comes later. But to me, it would be the first catalyst to the short. And even though you're looking at this and it's looking kind of crazy, to override the 15-minute being at the bottom would be the fact that there's a moon. Right? So moons override RSIs. Volume overrides RSI. Moons are volume. They're just the crossing of volume, meaning the change of volume's direction. Right? So all that a moon tells you is that volume has just changed. There are more sellers than buyers or more buyers than sellers. The volume is favoring this guy. So when that red moon hits on the 15, that would be my short right there. That would be where I would be looking at that short position. Right. I don't need the 15.
And that's why the reset is so on like a 1 hour reset.
Yeah.
That's why it's powerful because like it's like okay, now there's a shit ton of people buying, right?
Exactly. The
All this
reset
stuff.
is basically the retracement. It's a long going up, coming down, and then people looking for confirmation of strength and support, and then they enter and move up. That's why we wait for the moon reset. So the first trade is the moon. the trend, right? A lot of times your moon's going to give you a 1% anyways. If you have a moon in a trend, you're going to get the move anyway. So you really just need a moon. Moon happens, volume happens, you get in there, you take your 50%, the trend comes along, you get another trade, and then you kick back and you wait for the moon reset. The moon reset is going to give you a stronger move because that's the confirmational move. So here on Kava, even though this everything's in the other direction, we have a red moon. We have a 15-minute red moon. So I think by adding in trading with the 1 hour, I think that works for longs, right? I think the 1 hour trend works for longs. Like the very first move, like how to get out of shorts. Like don't trade against the 1 hour trend, right? If you're red, right? If the 1 hour trend goes from red to green, don't do shorts. But on the short side, I think it's the 15-minute. The 15-minute red trend is normally the one that you want to go with when we start heading in the other direction. Like that's, I mean, we can watch Kava. What I'm waiting for Kava is the red trend. Want to make some tacos, baby? So that's what I'm looking at now. Is like, so for me, that's kind of like the ideal is that. I mean, what do you think? Buggy sound about right? So, one.
Yeah, I like that approach. And again, with shorts, it's quicker than longs. You know what I mean? And it takes a little longer to materialize a full out long versus a pullback is it's a quicker trade. That's why we use higher leverage.
Right. Exactly.
Also, the thing you got the line on. Technically, the moon doesn't appear to the candle after,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So technically, that's where you're.
Yeah. So either way, this will flash for you. You'll start to see this flash, right? So this is just a confirmation. Like so, for me, I would be doing the 15-minute RSI start to come down. I would be entering there, right? Because that's showing weakness right away. The fact the 15 couldn't push up, right? So even if you wait for the moon, you'll see it flash in here. So you can slide over this candle, right? So either way, you're still, let's take the bottom of that candle, which is this little line right there. So for us, in this little pullback, even if you go to the bottom of that candle right there, you still got your 100%. So that's what they're designed to do is get 50% gains, right? So even if we pull up, say red moon, you're waiting, this candle would be where you would see the moon clearly would be this candle. So even somewhere, even wherever you entered here, we'll take the bottom of it. Let's say you had a shitty entry. That to where we're at currently, we're still getting our 1% in there. So yeah, you can wait. I mean, that's gonna flash for you. You'll see them flash before they come to the next candle. But yeah, the next candle is the same thing. So what I'm seeing now is like what else would make a difference here? Right. I mean, honestly, I think the red moon is kind of the beginning of the confirmation to you're okay with everything. So as long as you're looking at your 1 hour pullback, and we have more confirmations than that. We have a 1 hour plus we have a 2 hour. Right. So I mean, for me, the 2 hour kind of overrides a lot of things, right? But let's just do the normal pullback: 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, right? The 30 and the 15 already went through its cycle and they didn't get a lot of pullback, but the 2 hour comes into play, which means that it's getting stronger, right? It's going to have bigger pullback. Now we look at that. I think that's where we look and say, okay, let's have a 15-minute moon to go with a 1 hour of 30 and a 15-minute coming down, right? With volume, right? We keep forgetting the volume. With volume below the 4. That's kind of that's the key. With volume below the 4. Now I think this one here, I think the problem is when people miss this trade, right? I think a lot of the mistakes come in with trying to get the second part of this trade, right? That to me would be that key right there, right? So kind of see where that is, that bounce right there. If we look across and we look at our 15 and all that stuff, we can see the 15 come off the floor there. And I think that's what you were talking about, Rich, is getting the 15 moving. right here when the 15 minute comes off the floor, notice how it starts to go flat again, right? That's that candle, right? So to me, this second part of this trade, or the second entry of this trade, right, as we go back and look, to me, I get those. I'm already in that trade, because once I'm in the trade, guys, remember, I'm trading off the 3 minute. So here's the 3 minute RSI. Comes down. I take profits, right? I take my little profits. It comes up. There's a bigger dip that comes in, right? And I like to take profits. For me, I love to work the 3 minute moons, right? So here we go. We come down. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I normally like to take when I'm starting to head up in this direction, right? And I definitely would have took some there because I'm above that low 15. But a lot of times it's always a green moon, or like the bottom of that volume. So here I would have took some profits. It came up a little bit. It started to head back down. I would have bought this position here. I would have got a really big pullback right there. I would have took profits again, 75%. Comes up to the top. I would be buying back into my position here. Now it shows me a little bit of strength here, and it bounces up. I wouldn't have done anything here. I wouldn't have sold because I didn't hit my bottom. I would have stayed where I was till I got to the top here. Then I would have bought more position there till it comes down. It would have showed me strength again here. This is where the second time that it showed me that there's some type of resistance or support there. This is where I would have took 75% profit, because I've seen the support hit in the middle of the line twice. Now it took 75%, and then when I got back here, I would have seen that I got my green moon. I would have stayed out of the rebuying until this point here. Then I would have bought back into my trade right here because I didn't get my green trend. So this would be basically, I'd be fully back in my bag right here.
And that's where you have to watch the volume very carefully.
Yeah.
If it starts to just trend upwards, then you're. But
Yeah.
the fact that we're in the negative is helpful, because the one last night, that's when it went to positive volume.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, here I would start be looking at this a little bit sideways, because I mean, one, I've already got my profits, right? I'm already at my 100%. I would probably be out of this trade. I've already made a couple in and out trades that gave me 50% gains, one, two, probably twice already. And right here, you see how the volume, notice how the volume is starting to like try to trend up. This is where I would say to myself, like, all right, I might be heading towards a green moon, green trend. Go to your 1 minute, right? Go to your 1 minute for a heads up, right? What do we see here? Here's a push, right? I don't have a green moon yet, right? The volume is halfway, so that means if I do get the green moon, I'm probably going to go up into this zone here. So right now, this is telling me that I should probably take some profits here and prepare for a 3 minute push, right? So right here, I would take 75% of my profits and start to prepare for this 3 minute that's about to happen. All right, so let's mark this here. And now I'm going to show you guys, like, by taking that right there. And this is what I was doing the other day when I was trading, right? So here, take this trade, 75% profits, and now I'm going to let this 3 minute play out, because my volume, notice how my volume is starting to get level on the 3 minute. Now, while I'm waiting for this, I'm going to go to the 5 minute to see if the 5 minutes level, which it is, right? Which basically it's not bad to be level. It's in my favor still, right? Because it's too weak to gain, and it's not strong enough to push. But then I go to my 15 and notice that my 15 is still headed down. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm safe here, right? Because the 15 is not doing anything. So now I come back over here. I'm going to let this finish its last little drop back down. When it pushes back up here, I'm going to look at my 15 volume. If it's still the same, I'm going to go back into my trade. But that little step right there is a lot of times what guys will do to kind of protect themselves from a bounce. Me personally, now that I'm already in that trade there, I'm going to kind of like solidify myself to the 3 minute green moon, green trend. And this move here, right? Because this is kind of where guys panic right there. I wouldn't take that trade right there, because I don't have a green moon and green trend. Do you see what I'm saying? So that trade looks like you want to take 75% profits right there, but this is where I wouldn't, because I didn't get that green moon. You see what I'm saying? And that's the 1 minute, right? So if the 1 minute isn't a green moon, green trend, then I'm not worried about the 3 minute. So even though that was a little pump right there, I would have held steady, because if you look, my 3 minute was still coming down, but my volume was going flat. It wasn't pushing up. So I wasn't too concerned about the strength of it. So I would sit back and say, all right, I'm gonna let this kind of play out to where it is. I don't get a green moon here. So this is where I'm solidifying, right? But since your 3 minute is coming to that bottom, this is where you're gonna normally take profits anyways to protect yourself. But the volume is what's important, right? And kind of see what's coming. Look at the 1 minute. Notice that on all the pushes that have came, notice here that we haven't had any really good pushes against us, because the one minute hasn't even got a green moon yet. Now you can see over here, against this short here, there was a green moon, there was a pump, came back down, right? Green moon, pump, came back down, green trend, fought it a little bit, right? Then finally red moon came in, more short, green trend, green moon, green trend on the 1 minute, and then you would have seen a 3 minute here that we got out of, but that was a prelude to what's happening. Currently here, we don't have that yet, right? Now we're starting to see it right here. Now, but this 1 minute's already at the top. It's already topped out. So this, how strong is this going to be? Probably not that strong, because the 1 minute's already bending to cross back over. So more than likely, that's going to be a false moon. So I'm just staying in my position right here. So now, staying in my position, holding it, and now that I'm in this trade and I'm kind of locked in, I've already taken profits once or twice. Now I'm not going to sell or buy out any of these positions, because I'm just going to hold until at least a green moon on the 1 minute and a green trend that would make me think about getting out. But as far as it's looking now, notice how it's weaker. You see what I'm saying? It's getting weaker. I'm already in my profit zone. I'm already where I need to be. Now I'm just saying, okay, I was going to wait for a 3 minute green moon, 3 minute green trend. Now I can say to myself, 1 minute green moon, 1 minute green trend. Right? Because now I'm already where I want to be. And since it's weak and it doesn't get a green moon there and it's failing to do anything, now I'm just saying to myself, like, the next time it goes down is probably going to be the last time it really kind of heads in that zone. So I'm going to keep watching this volume, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to stay on that 1 minute green moon, 1 minute green trend before that next thing. You see how that dip right there? So now I'm looking here going, okay, this is probably a bottom target for this coin right here. All right, this is probably, I'm starting to get in this little zone, because just because it's starting to show weakness here, doesn't mean we're going to go down too much further. It just means that it's starting to find a level, right? So now I need to keep watching my levels on my higher things, right? My 15 minutes, see how my 15 minutes starting to bend up now? See that little bend right there? So now I start looking around going, okay, maybe on my profit side I should be a little more tighter on this profit. So we still have some space here, but notice the 5 minutes starting to bend there, right? So it's showing that there's a little resistance here. Still need a 3 minute green moon to consider closing. Need at least a green moon on my 1 minute anyways. So now I'm committed to this trade. Let's see, we'll get out when there's a green moon, green trend on the 1 minute, and we'll rotate to the 3 from there. But this looks like it's found a resistance line, and now we're just going to fight it out. Can you see the difference there, Young? You see what I'm saying? Richard, you see what I'm saying on there?
Now at this point, 15 and the 30 are both bottom together, which means, there's not going to be much more. But if like the 15 and 30 were higher, then you can make it through a 3 minute green moon and not stress, because you still have so much more 15 and 30 to go.
Right.
I was trying to, I don't know if that was Richard or Rich Man yesterday. I was trying to explain that on BNB. I got 3 minute green moon and a 3 minute green trend while I was in the short, but I wasn't stressing because the 3 minute RSI was topped and the 15 and 30 both had so much more room to go down.
Right.
So that's how I knew it was going to be weak and I could power through it.
Yeah,
If that
exactly. Here, we're kind of in the scenario where this is like, all right, this has finally found support. Your 15 and your 30 are bottom, so you don't have too much room to push, but you do have a 2 hour in your favor, and we have a 3 hour, right? So there has to be something has to give here, right? Something's going to happen here where we're going to get some type of push up, right? Here's your green moon. I'm taking my 75% here because now I'm starting to think to myself like, all right, we're kind of leveled out here. We got a little pressure here. Volume starting to change a little bit. I'm already up. I don't have a 15 minute. I don't have a 30. That's the difference, right? As soon as that moon hit, boom, I closed. 75%. Now the only thing for me to do here is like watching this pump happen is look for more entries with that 75% or getting out as soon as this goes green for me. But that's right back to Boogie's point. The 15 and the 30 were both bottomed out for a long time. Why push it? Because these are the type of trades where guys are in and they're like, they're extending, but why? You already hit. Now, if you go off the system and you say, well, I just want to make sure I get all I can get, well, then once it bottoms out with the 15 and the 30, instead of a 3 minute moon, 3 minute trend, slide over to the 1 minute, get a 1 minute moon, 1 minute trend, and then you consider your closing. So far you're all right. So you don't have a trend yet. So this can still, find its way sideways and then continue down. But you got to have something that you repeat so that you have a system, right? You got to stay in the system so that you don't make mistakes of getting out too early or getting out too late, right? That's why when I'm in a trade, I have to commit to the trade because I'm following the system. So here I've said, okay, I want to make sure I get these profits, so I'm not going to wait for the 3 minute moon, 3 minute trend, which is where I would normally get in and out. But because the 15 and the 30 is bottomed, then I'm going to move to the 1 minute, and I'm going to take the 1 minute moon and trending it out. Now don't forget our 1 minute RSI is topped out here. Slide to the 3 minute, it's headed up. Here we go. Here's our 3 minute moon. So honestly, right now, all we need is a 3 minute trend and we'd be getting out of here. And to jump that here, I would say since there's so much 3 minute, to go up, if I get a 1 minute trend, I'm just going to get out of it because the 3 minute has so much space to grow and the 15 minute and the 30 are bottomed, right? Scenarios. Now, personally, I think this is going to fail on this push. This is probably just going to be a little bump in the road and it's going to continue back. So the only thing I would look at here, I would take a look at my 15 minute, which is bouncing up. This is not bad because it's not coming from the bottom. It's already halfway there. So this could be a little bit of a pump here and then back down. But this is where the decisions are when you take profits, just take profits. The 15 and the 30 are bottomed. Is it going to go the way you think it is? Probably going to go short. Probably going to keep going. But the problem is the bounces and the wicks are uncontrollable. So since we already made our money, we are already out of this trade. We're already kicked back. It doesn't even matter. Fighting on to this trade doesn't work for us. That's why we use the high leverage is so we can make our money and get out. 15 and 30 are bottom, you're out. As soon as the volume goes where it needs to go, you leveled out. Pick a thing, say to yourself,
Green on 1 minute.
there you go. There, boom, you're closing. Now this actually should have been like on your profit side, and this just kind of lets you know like profit wise right there you would get out. That's a 0.038 deduction off profits, right? By waiting for that moment, right? So I think here the key is 30 and the 15, you're out. We got what we wanted on the original entry already anyways. I mean, we're still decent in this whole particular trade here. It doesn't even matter. So the whole trade here on the entry point here is 1.6. You just gave back You're still up 100% here, right? So you're not in a bad position here, but you got your 1 minute green moon, 1 minute green trend. But remember, your RSI is at the top, right? So you have to. This is where the moment is. You have to let that RSI play out. Remember that. This is why you have to have the system, whether or not you're going in or out. When you take profits, you're there. You're extending this, and you've made the decision. You're extending it. You have to play the system. The system is 1 minute green moon, 1 minute green trend. The RSI has to be headed up against you. The 1 minute is trading with you, right? That makes sense? So we have to let this 1 minute play out because that could change the color of the moon and the trend. Now, you see how the 1 minute RSI starts to bend down right there? I'm going to look at the 3 minute real quick to see if I'm topped out yet. I'm not quite topped. But now what I'm going to do is what? What's the rule? 3 minute green moon. RSI has to be bottom heading out. Do we have that? No. We have the opposite. We have a 3 minute green moon. 3 minute RSI is at the top. So what are we going to do? We're going to let this play out. We can't close yet. You're committed to this system, right? But this is where you got to run this course. You got to run this through. Good or bad, it doesn't really matter. You just have to be, you're doing the same thing over time. And what happens is 7 out of 10 times you will make more money than you lose, right? So that means 3 times that you kind of lost a little bit of percentages. 7 times you got twice as much as that back, which covers the 3 times that you messed up and gave you 5 times more money. But you got to have a system that you're committed to get out of this trade. We can't close this trade because we have our 3 minute moon, but the RSI is too top. We need it to come down. And how we can tell is we look at the 1 minute. The 1 minute is already coming down, which is already letting us know this is getting weak. So me personally right here, this is where I would look at Kava and I would be increasing my position here because I'm seeing it already breaking down right here. Let me see. So I don't worry about the 3 minute because at this moment, the 1 minute has already told me that it's too weak to break out. You guys see how that works right there?
Yes, sir. What about the 15 minute VC?
Already bottomed. So we know the 15 and 30 already bottomed for us. Now we're just playing, now that we're already in this trade, we have to commit to a system, right? The system is, where do we get out? We normally get out on a 3 minute moon, 3 minute trend. Which we don't have yet. So to get more proactive, we said, all right, man, we will close, because we're already up in profits. We're going to close on a 1 minute green moon, green trend, right? But we're committing to something to happen, right? And now the RSI has to be bottomed out and headed down for that to be a situation where, it actually pans out that way. So when that 1 minute got rejected and I got a moon there, I feel comfortable that we're going to get to a position where we're coming back down to where we need to be. And this is where I'm deciding that, am I going to give up on this trade and say, you know what? No, I'm going to let this kind of run out. But see here, notice here my volume's going around, my 3 minutes starting to bend down here. I'm feeling comfortable that I'm probably going to retouch this line down here. Now the decision is that, all right, am I going to take these profits now that I see that, are we getting any shorter here, right? That's where I'm going to stick with my 1 minute, right? 1 minute green moon, 1 minute green trend. The 1 minute has to show me that things are changing. Right now, the volume on the 1 minute is negative. So now I'm stuck in this trade where I'm just waiting for this to play out. But you got to be committed to something that happens every time, so that you can see your profits and your losses, your gains, or what happens. You can't become an emotional trader, right? And now that I'm watching this happen, I can see how my 1 minute's starting to bend up there. So that is telling me right now on my 1 minute. You see the 1 minute starting to bend up. this is starting to tell me that it's starting to gain, it's starting to get like, it's starting to get strength, right? So now that I see this happening, this is where I would turn around and say, you know what, let me get out of this fucking trade, right? Because that's going to basically give me, by staying in there, I was able to pick up another, my 0.6 there, and I'm able to get out of there and say, you know what, I'm just going to get out of this trade because I'm feeling like it's starting to get strength there. All right, slide to your 15 minute, you're bottomed out, you did a good trade. No need to push that. You already let the 1 minute go up, it's failing to go back down, you see that? I'm going to take that as a sign of it getting stronger here. Now, does Kava continue to go down? Probably. But you're already, I mean, because what do you have here? You have a 2 hour headed down, it's about to cross. That could take the next 6 hours. Your 4 hours heading up, so that's against you, so that could be another 2 hours. Your 3 hour is, see how your 3 hours starting to go down there? I mean, over the next 6 hours, Kava is definitely going to end up going into a better short position. My only thing here is that we still have the 1 hour coming down. So overall, is Kava a short? Yes. The only thing that you could sit back and say, all right, let me let the 15 minute recover here. Instead of fighting for this little percent here, I'm going to let my 15 minute recover, and then I will get into the continuation of this short. Right? I think that's where guys are having the problem, is like, where do you get in the continuation point? Right? The continuation is going to be letting the 15 minute come up and then re-enter. Now, if the 30 minute starts to come up with it, then
You see the one when you were saying to stay within the trend. So if the trend is red, there might be 3 pullbacks in that red trend,
yeah,
but you don't necessarily, if you miss the first one, it doesn't mean jump, or you have to have it. But when you have it, there could be multiple pullbacks within that 1 hour.
The next pullback is probably going to come with the safety net that we just put in, saying, hey, wait for the 1 hour trend. So now that's why I'm watching Kava, is because I want to see if we say, hey, trade with the 1 hour trend, that helps you get into a better position on what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking for Kava. I want to see if the 1 hour brings us something better or something that's consistent, right? We already had one trade that we took advantage of, and that happened because of the 15 minute, right? Once the 15 minute trend went red, there's our trade. We hit this trade. This trade, like, that's what I'm saying, like, the trades are designed to do one thing: get 50% gains. That trade gave us 0.82. That was a 50% gain, right? We're done with that trade. What's the next trade? Well, the next trade is going to be, right, we had a 15 and a 30 minute that gave us our trade, right? So what's the next trade? The next trade is the 1 hour. We need a 1 hour red trend. Then we'll see if we get another trade. So let me put in the lines here. And this is where we got out. And I'll make that a little bit thicker. That's where we got out of the trade. And now let's see if we can gather additional trade in this little pocket here. I'm gonna make this blue. All right, we'll make it pink. Green. Need some better colors. All right, blue. Or white. The white trade. All right, so now we got our little spot there. We can see where we had a position for that trade. Now we'll wait for the 1 hour. You see that dump right there? That's what we risk not having if we don't stick to the 3 minute moon, 3 minute trend. You see what I'm saying? That's what I say. When you commit to something, it's going to be the trade that you're looking at. You just have to start saying to yourself, all right, I'm in this trade. I got to stay in this trade until I get the 3 minute moon, 3 minute green trend, right? Or at least say to yourself, 1 minute moon, 1 minute green trend. You see, you let those RSIs play out. Look what happens. Look at this fucking dump. Pow. That's what I'm saying. Committing to that, and then realizing that we don't close a trade until we have a 3-minute green moon, 3-minute green trend. Right? Win or loss or whatever. If you're entering these trades correctly, then it's gonna pan out anyways.
I don't know about you guys, but that was super helpful. Talking that out in real time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's the biggest thing is like at the end of the day, it's like committing to the system. You know what I'm saying? I know sometimes it gets emotional in there, but it's like, hey man, if I'm 3-minute green moon, 3-minute green trend, then that's what the fuck it is. Hell or high water. Because the trades work. Look at this fucking dump. It's crazy. But that's really what it comes down to. It's like, even with the 15 down, even with everything in there, we're already in the trade. The out of this trade, right, is that 3-minute moon, 3-minute trend. Now, profit-wise all the time, taking profits, buying in, selling out. See that pump that came in, 3-minute. You bought some more on that 3-minute, comes back down. Red moon hits, right? Red moon came in right on this candle, right? What did that mean? Boom. More buying. That's what I was saying earlier that's what I was saying. Remember when it said like this, I would be buying more here? When that 1 minute failed to break and started to head down, and that 3 minutes started to head down, what'd I say? This is where I would be buying more. Because there's no value. And look what happened. Look at that fucking trade. Damn. Like buying right in there, man. I would have scored. Look at that. 50 fucking percent right there, guys. That's where I would have been buying more, man, right there. Remember when I said that? When the 1 minute failed, this is where I would be buying more. And look at that. Sheesh. But this is the importance of like looking at that volume. That volume got weak right there. Remember I said the 1 hour moon came? We had a green moon, right? The red moon came. What'd I say? I would buy more. Right there. No value. Big ass fucking dump. I actually should have bought that. I don't have my Mech C up. That's the problem. That's what I was trying to get to. Yeah. But that would have been the trade right there. So that's where you guys like, this is the next level of what you're looking at. The trade is already there. You're in it. You gotta just ride it out, man. I mean, this is, like I said, you can get, if you want to be a little more official, you can just say, all right, man, let me get a 1 minute red moon, 1 minute, or 1 minute green moon, 1 minute green trend. And the RSI of the 1 minute, let it finish its course. Let it go to the top. Let it come down. If it's still green, by the time it hits the bottom, then take your profits. No shame in the game. But let the RSIs play out. Now, me personally, this is, like I said, Kava's still going down. It's going to keep going down. But that's where the emotions have to be removed. 1 minute, green moon, green trend. That's kind of like the safe man's play, because you're already up 100%. Don't forget, if you would have entered correctly, you're already up 100%. So now you're just being greedy. And it's okay to be greedy. Instead of waiting for the 3 minute, be greedy, right? But no matter what, the RSIs have to play out. They got to go to the top. They got to come back down. That 1 minute RSI, when the green trend hit, was already at the top. So we got to let that play out. So now we'd be in the same scenario. Green moon, green trend. Now look at this. Now here, you have a 1 minute at the bottom, and now it looks like it wants to give a green moon. So if it gives a green moon, green trend on the way up here, you can be greedy and get the hell out here. If it gets to the top, you got to let it play out. It's another scenario where you're letting it play out. But that's why we have to remove emotions, and we just got to play the system, right? You do that every fucking time, You're going to see the results, and then you're going to be like, all right, man, I ride the system. I do what the system is. That's why sometimes you guys are like, when I'm in a trade, and you're like, oh, VC, I'm like, I can't get out until that happens. I just can't. Because I know that sometimes I'm going to lose a trade or lose percents that I want, but I know 7 out of 10 times will go the way I want it to go, and that'll be twice as much as that I lose. Sometimes even more. That's what I'm saying. Commit to the system. Right? Adding these other things, I'm just trying to see if adding a little more safety nets makes sense, but I just don't think on shorting, I don't think it makes sense on shorting. On longs, now look at here, what I just tell you. So here you go. Did anybody watch that 1 hour? When did that 1 hour trend hit? I moved my fucking, I started looking at the 3 minute. So that 1 minute probably hit in this candle right here. So that 1 minute would have been flashing. That would have been our entry for that extra trade. But now this is even a bigger trade. So now, all right, so this is what I was waiting for. So now in between here and here, here's the green line, right? So let's move this down here. Now I want to see, I'm going to open this up to a 3. Now I want to see how much more, now that we have a red trend, how much more we get. There's a red dot in here. So now what happens with this red trend? Do we get more? Is this still a good short? This is what I was waiting on. This is kind of what we were talking about, like adding the red trend to go short. To me, this now says that this is a good short. Now let's see what happens here, right? So we know right here there's 200% gains that we didn't get, but let's say that we get in right now. So let's get in here and see if we make any money by letting the 1 hour play its course. Now you do lose out here, but to be safe, waiting for the confirmation, let's see what we get here. 967.
That trend, that 1 hour trend came before a 1 hour moon. So I wonder if that gives it strength or less or lack thereof.
A lot of times that's lack. The moons are more important because remember the moons are volume. You see what I'm saying? The trend is less. The moons are volume here. So more than likely we're going to see a pullback here. All right, so for the pullback, all right, so now we got our 1 hour, let's do our 3 minute, right? What do we got? Here's your 3 minute bottom. So now we're going to see some type of bounce here, right? So for the bounce, we can slide to our 1 minute. Remember what we're looking for. Now that trend hits, we would go here and then would we enter this? Let's take a look here and see if we would enter this, right? So first of all, the 1 hour trend hits, right? We look down, what do we see? We see the 1 hour trend heading in our favor. Perfect. Slide to our 30 minute. 30 minutes bottomed out, but we have a red moon, volume's low, right? Below the 4. Boom, you slide over to 15 minute. It's bottomed out, but it has red volume. Everything looks good, right? So where's the entry on this 1 hour? That's going to be the question. That's really what happens here. Slide to the 5 minute. We're already in this really crazy ass position here, huge short already happening. Do you just take the one hour trend and say that's the one I gotta go? As long as I have a 3 minute pull up, you look at your 3 minute, you would have got in somewhere on this bounce here. Like you haven't got your bounce yet, so you're still waiting. So you would wait for this. So let's see where this 3 minute comes up, and then we'll look at an entry. Yeah, that's going to be the question. Once you get a trend. Now you can short this coin, but where does this short happen? Where does it come in? Are we waiting for the 15 minute to go back up? Are we waiting for all these other scenarios to happen? Oh yeah, we got burger. Let's go. How we doing, boys? Make me some tacos. Dub, how are you, brother? It's like I can use a walk, you know? Can't walk anywhere out here, dude. Fucking snakes, bushes, everything kills you. Yeah, I think the 1 minute trend comes in. I think you have to now it's safe to do a trade, but I think you have to let we're gonna have to this is probably gonna take a couple hours on this to let this reset to where we get to the trades that we're looking for, you know what I mean? That's gonna be key. We are bottomed out everywhere. I think the 1 hour trend is kind of like, I would say, the reminder that, you know, we're kind of at the bottom here. Now you need a reset. You know what I'm saying? So we'll watch Kava. I got that 1 hour trend line marked in. Come back in a couple hours. I want to see once it resets on this next trade. I want to see what we get. So we know what we got here. This is our entry right here on our normal entry. All right, I'm gonna put this here, and then we'll come back and see what we got there. All right, boys. Any questions? Anything? Are we looking at that? That helpful?